No? Not a single person, not a single soul. Okay, that's just that's just crazy. Well, I did! This right here was the upgrade that was needed, boys. It's looking brand spanking new around here. Let's go! Sorry if I'm a little hyped. I can't help it. New setup and new content? What's not to be excited about? And speaking of new content, that's exactly, obviously, what this video's about. Today, I am going to be covering some fairy tale Gaiden. By the way, I know I titled the video like the fairy tale story you've never read, and some of y'all have probably read it already, thus making the title invalid for you, but bro, let me get my views. We all just trying to get seen out here? I'm playing, a little. However, even if some of y'all have read it, I guarantee some haven't. Case in point, me. Ya boy been a fairy tale fan for many years, and I only just discovered this series existed like 2 to 3 months ago. And for those who have no clue what fairy tale Gaiden is, because no explanation has been given yet, let me tell ya. Gaiden is a series of spin-off mangas that deal with the different characters in the fairy tale universe. There's 3 in total. The first deals with Sabertooth, the second with Gajiel and Levi, and the third with the Thunder Legion. Also, these spin-off mangas were neither written nor drawn by Hiro Mashima. With that being how it is, a question then arises. Is any of this canon? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a question I do not have the answer to, nor do I really care about said answer. But anyways, right now I'm of course going to start with the first in the series, that one being about Sabertooth. Yet another reason why I am excited, by the way. An entire spin-off manga about my second favorite character in fairy tale. I'm here for it! Now, quick disclaimer, this video will not be about the entirety of the first spin-off manga. I'll be covering a couple of chapters here, then I'll be back to cover some more, and we'll just keep going like that. With all of that out of the way though, let's get into it. So our story begins in a pretty sick way, not gonna lie. A robbery is going down in some jewelry store. There's a little bit of chaos, a little bit of panic, a little bit of rowdiness. But just then, Sabertooth bursts onto the scene with the goat Sting leading the pack as he should be as the master of the guild. Unfortunately though, he doesn't get to participate in any of the fun because his supposed guildmates push his bitch ass out the way and steal all the action. Needless to say, it's a little embarrassing for the goat. I mean, even Ogra got to do something. He showed off, bro, and that's embarrassing because that dude sucks. But after the bank robbery is dealt with and the ass-kissing is given by the Sorcerer Weekly dude, who completely ignores Sting, they all go back to the guild in high spirits. Well, most are in high spirits, some are not. Well, some is actually just one, and we already know who that one is. That boy's salty as hell. Luckily though, Yukino is there to raise his spirits. She baked bro some cookies. Some float cookies. You eat one and you float. And this improves Sting's mood immensely. Then everybody starts partaking in the cookies, and it's just a grandiose time. Listen, I know this seems kinda whack right now, but trust me, it's about to turn up. So the next day, Yukino arrives at the guild a little bit later than she normally does, claiming that she accidentally overslept. And after some hellos and getting entangled into a job with Minerva, she eventually makes her way to Sting and Rogue, and tells them that she is going on said job with Minerva. At that moment, the guildmaster asks, "Who are you?" For Yukino to arrive at this sort of time, it's a first. She, no matter what's up, will always be at the guild earlier than anyone. Always. Sting then asks again, "Who are you?" The impersonator, knowing that his cover is blown, tries to lash out as his transformation magic fades with a blast of power, but his attempt is swiftly interrupted by a devastating punch straight to the face. Sting proceeds to grab the impersonator by the collar, lifting him up, and asks what he did to Yukino, and he better be damn ready for what happens next, depending on his answer. This dude was really beyond ready to kill him. Yo, when Sting gets serious, he does not mess around. In the story, Rogue literally has to be the one to be like, bro, calm down. While Rogue is trying to calm him down though, the impersonator smugly states that there's no reason for any of them to know where Yukino is, because that celestial spirit mage is already a part of his guild. After hearing those words, Sting bolts out of the guild alone at top speed in a desperate search for his guildmate. I love the energy, but he left with virtually no clues at all. He's got the good old Dragon Slayer nose, however, it's raining outside where they're at, so her smell is rapidly being washed away. This makes the rest of Sabertooth turn to the impersonator to try and get information from him, since he's the only one who would know anything about her whereabouts. In response to this, the impersonator is like, look, you can do whatever you want to me, I ain't snitching. And when Minerva hears this, she accepts the challenge. Oh boy, you poor son of a bitch. Bro should not have said that. Now, we don't know what she did, but we do know that on the very next page, he is spilling the beans. He's like, she's on a hidden airship on the outskirts of town, and we kidnapped her to revive a magic weapon. Here's my social security number, my birth date. You want anything else? What a loser. Anyways, we then get to see exactly what the impersonator is talking about, because Yukino is staring directly at said magic weapon aboard said airship. Also, aboard this airship, we're introduced to the man behind it all, Crunch, the master of the Dark Guild known as Abyss Horn. Crunch obviously intends to use the weapon for his own desires, but in order to operate it, he needs the power of a celestial spirit wizard. That is why he had Yukino kidnapped. She tells him, though, that she'll never cooperate with him because she is a mage of Sabertooth. In response to this denial, the Dark Guild Master commands his men to rip her clothes until they find her guild mark, which he will then proceed to remove. Crunch believes that after such actions, Yukino will have no choice but to give up and succumb to his will. So the men do as they're told. They start ripping. She tries to fight back and actually lands 2 solid hits on her attackers, but she is quickly knocked to the ground. The men then begin to pummel her and laugh and chant about her futile resistance. All the while, Yukino is thinking that at the very least, she will protect her guild mark. That is the one thing she will not lose. But just before all hope seems lost, a light appears and crashes onto the ship with a massive boom. Sting has arrived. After a tiny chat about how he got there and what she just went through, with a comforting smile, he tells Yukino that she did well enduring all of this. Now, just leave everything to him. Crunch, with all of his men behind him, taunt the Dragon Slayer, asking him if he really intends to take on this many people all alone. Sting replies, yeah. And as his magic begins to swell, he continues and says, I'll crush every single one of you. This is why I love Sting. This dude has had such immense character development. Like, this Sting right here is completely different from the Sting we saw all the way back at the start of the Grand Magic Games. They're like 2 completely different people. He cares about his guildmates above all else. Like when he arrived on the airship, he didn't instantly just start whooping everybody's ass. No, before he challenged the enemy, he first tended to a very hurt Yukino. Bro even put his jacket around her. Sting may still have a lot of room to improve as a guildmaster, but his heart is in the right place. It's where it needs to be. Also, can we talk about Yukino for a second and how dirty she gets done? Like, on the list of female fairy tale characters that got it bad, she's kinda up there. And it's unfortunate that there's even a list to begin with, but there is. Now back to the story. Crunch laughs in the face of Sting's determination. He believes that this situation is too much for the Dragon Slayer to handle, so he commands his men to charge. Crunch, however, could not be more wrong, because when the first wave charges in, he knocks them all away with a singular heavy blow, then follows it up with a White Dragon's Talon attack. When the Dark Guildmaster sees this, he is less than pleased, so he decides that it's time for him to enter the fray. He activates a magic spell called Jackhammer, which causes a bunch of surrounding inanimate objects to form around his hand. With this, he launches at Sting, screaming that the Celestial Spirit Mage belongs to him and him alone. In a flash, though, Sting catches the incoming attack with one hand, and with the other, he lets loose a White Dragon's Iron Fist right to Crunch's face, but not before screaming in retaliation that Yukino is a part of his family. The Dark Guildmaster gets back up after taking the devastating hit and says that he will not have his plans ruined, not by the likes of him. Crunch then proceeds to activate the airship and the ancient weapon. Unfortunately for Sting, with the airship now in the air, he ain't feeling too good. The motion sickness has left him constricted to down on one knee as the weapon gets ready to fire and blast the out of him. Yukino, however, will not let it go down like this. She stands in defiance of all the odds in front of Sting, ready to sacrifice herself for the master of her guild. Crunch, despite knowing that he needs Yukino to keep using the weapon, fires it at her anyways. But right before the attack hits her, right before she gets obliterated, Sting jumps in the way, activates Dragon Force, and unleashes a mighty White Dragon's Holy Breath that blows away both of the weapon and Crunch. The Dark Guildmaster is still alive though in the rubble of the weapon, and thinks that everything will be alright because he still has Yukino's keys. But as soon as he says that, the rest of Sabertooth arrives on the scene looking pissed as all get out. And let's just say, he didn't get to keep the keys. All of Sabertooth then meets up, and with the day saved, they walk home together. By the way, if you were wondering how Sting was able to move on the airship, it's because bro still had one of those floating cookies. Too bad, even though we did all of that great stuff, he still couldn't make it into Sorcerer Weekly. I think that dude might have something against Sting. Sting, go over there and punch the shit out of that dude. Bro, I'm really digging this story. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe with the notifications on. You'd be doing me a huge favor, bro. And also, if you turn those notifications on, you won't miss the next upload. Now, peace out, everybody. I'll see you suckers later.